Yeah, it's Sunday evening, and I'm looking at a whole week's worth of work from tomorrow onwards. But it's not the Monday morning blues that I fear nowadays. It's that lunch on Mondays when the inevitable Game of Thrones conversation pops up, and more often than not, when someone's going to pipe up, "Hey, did you catch today's episode? Oh my God, I haven't seen it. I've recorded it. Please don't tell me spoilers. Screw you. I've been off Facebook. I've been off social media. What happened today? I'm just going to chill and curl back in the evening. Oh my God." Then they're just going to get into this really weird, warped language I can't make head or tail of. It's crazy. Game of Thrones is like a proper cultural movement now. Even in India, after the Avengers frenzy, it's Game of Thrones, and I think we, as an urban culture at the very least, are really lapping up whatever is coming from the West in terms of big ass TV shows or big ass movie franchises and so on and so forth. I think it's almost like some kind of an addiction. It's like a feverish addiction where everyone has to jump on the bandwagon so as to have something over the weekend to talk off through the week. It's insane. But you know what? I really detest those Monday morning lunches. Monday lunches at work. It's crazy. Everyone just sits down and they're like, "Oh my God, did you see Caesar did this? Someone did that. There was a dragon and something about some dragon glass and someone died. The giant was killed by a 12-year-old girl." It's crazy. That show is crazy. Now, I admit I have never really actually sat down and bothered to catch an episode of Game of Thrones. I'm one of those people who's a little wary whenever some kind of a cult show suddenly pops up. I mean, I never bought into the whole Breaking Bad phase either. I chose to actually catch up on the series once the series had actually ended. So I'm just one of those guys who doesn't really buy into fads or stuff like this. Basically, I mean, trending shows, and not really one to pick a conversation with. But I'll tell you something. So I work for this company, and we're going to be launching a product very soon. And as a part of the marketing team, it's always a question: "Oh my God, we're going to launch a product. How do we make this successful?" Any brand manager's nightmare, right? And so I have another colleague working with me on this particular launch, and she's a little young. She's a little younger than me. I think she's probably somewhere around 24, 25, and we were discussing like how do we get the sales guys all amped up for this launch. This is like a big ticket launch and blah blah blah. And invariably, if you have to make a brand successful in the market and you had to choose a grand theme for the grand launch, you can't really shy away from a war-like scenario, okay? Because nothing fuels war like economy or economics, and nothing really fuels economy or economics like war. So it's like a symbiotic relationship. It's also a slippery slope. But yeah, I mean, if you had to actually speak to the man on the ground, right? Our sales guy on the ground, he is the front end of the company and so on and so forth. He needs to feel a little pumped up. And invariably, this particular sales force is full of men. I mean, it's just dominated by men. So nothing gets men rallied quite like war. I mean, it's like, let's fight for, our brand or our company, and we are like soldiers and we are each other's comrades in the market, and we're going to go into the market and sell the shit out of this product and make this product a great success and so on and so forth. So we were just brainstorming like what should be the theme for a product launch, and she was like, "Oh damn, our sales guys, they're kind of stupid or whatever, or they don't follow the shows that we follow. Otherwise, Game of Thrones would have been the ultimate theme." And I was thinking, why Game of Thrones? I mean, there are plenty of other options. If you want to actually simulate warfare in the market, all you had to do was look at Mahabharata, man. I mean, what more do you want? If you want a grand theme, just look whatever happened in Kurukshetra and then you have it. You have a fantastic product launch theme. But she was like, "What about Mahabharata? I mean, I don't even get Mahabharata. Game of Thrones is so cool." And I just stopped her and I was like, "Listen, Game of Thrones is probably like prevalent in 6, 7 cities in India at max. Okay. The guy on the road, I mean, the common guy, the common man has no idea what's happening on Game of Thrones. And I don't think he will be catching up on the Game of Thrones fad for at least another decade. So let's just get over ourselves and just think Mahabharata." I mean, and she was like, "What's so cool about Mahabharata? I mean, it's so traditional, it's so boring." Yeah, maybe for you, but for the guy on the road, nothing gets him amped up like, man, I'm like going to be Bima or something in the market and माल पेल दूंगा मैं मतलब brand तो बेच के ही रहूंगा मैं मतलब you know what I mean. But yeah, then I proceeded to have this conversation with her. She is obviously very well versed with the Game of Thrones universe, and I have some kind of knowledge as far as the Indian epics are concerned. So I just asked her a couple of very simple questions. One was, of course, what is Game of Thrones all about? And she was like, well, it's this insane world where there are like 7 or 8 kingdoms, and they're vying for the ultimate throne. And so I was like, okay, 7 to 8 kingdoms come together in a grand war in the finale season. That's probably what's expected anyway. So you're telling me there's this mysterious land, and people are fighting to, gain control of the land of said land. There are multiple kingdoms with multiple agendas, and it's a very complex story. And they're basically going to fight each other for the land, right? For the ultimate throne. Is that what it is all about? She was like, yeah. I was like, what do you think the Mahabharata is? Isn't it oddly similar? You have multiple kingdoms divided by some strange fine line of morality, teaming up together on two sides, fighting for the land that is Bharatakanda. Hence, it becomes the tale of the Mahabharata, or the grand war for Bharat. There's really not much difference. And if you think Game of Thrones is cooler than Mahabharata for the common man on the road, I'm really not sure about that. I mean, it's a little sad. It's a little sad. So part of the reason why Akash and I actually started India was because of this very fact, right? I mean, you have the West with like a little over 150, 200 years of solid socio-cultural history, which they sort of package it in this insane form because of their superior economics, and then they just sell the hell out of it across the world. And every other culture, especially in the so-called third world, starts lapping it up by forgetting their own indigenous insane histories. It's insane. I can't get over it. Mahabharata is super cool, man. If we could just maybe commercialize B.R. Chopra's Mahabharata, repackage it in an insane Avengers kind of an avatar, sky's the limit. You have an amazing ancient epic just waiting to be plucked. Now, I know there were some rumors in Bollywood they were going to make Mahabharata, and I think Amir Khan was involved in that project. God knows what happened to it. But I'll tell you what, where is Anurag Kashyap? Give it to him. Let him make our Mahabharata. The retelling of Mahabharata. Give it a Dev D spin, man. I mean, make Karna some, pot smoking superhero or something. That'll be super killer. I would love to watch a show like that. Or better yet, just make an epic movie like Gangs of Wasipur or something. Commercialize that shit. Commercialize an amazing history. And you know what? Game of Thrones may be super cool, I'm sure. But yeah, we invented the original Game of Thrones, and it was called Mahabharata. It's, I think, 4,000 years old or 3,000 years old? I have no idea. But you get my drift. So yeah, that was my rant for today. Until next time, see ya, guys.